They were so skinny and so frail. They just looked like they had been through a lot. They'd been left in a laundry room, locked in a laundry room, naked, zip tied from the ankles and handcuffed from the wrists. Hello everyone, I'm Jessica Blackbird. Welcome to my channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. Well, you guys, this is coming out of Houston, Texas. Evil mother and her boyfriend, AB used, because we're not supposed to say that word, her children. And this woman had already been accused of child abuse in Louisiana. And she moved to Houston, Texas, and she began her cycle all over again. So let's get to what this horrible, evil, I don't want to call her mother, woman has done to these children. And, you know, this is the second case that I've heard of. The first case that I read about a few weeks ago was a white family. Those parents, the mother and father, had their children locked up in the same exact way that this woman had her children. So, woman accused of abusing her children long before Tuesday's Amber Alert. So there was an Amber Alert sent out on Tuesday last week, I think it was. Zaika, I don't know how to say her name, Duncan and Jova Terrell were taken into custody in Louisiana after an Amber Alert that originated out of the Cypress area. Cypress is like a little suburb or subdivision in Houston. A woman and her boyfriend are facing charges in Harris County after a whirlwind of a day that covered 2 states and 5 missing children. According to authorities, it started early Tuesday when 16-year-old twins told authorities they were able to escape their home where they were handcuffed. They said they ran from the home and found someone to call the police. The twins didn't know the address of the house because they said they hadn't lived there long and said they hadn't been outside recently. By the time Harris County Precinct 5 constable deputies were able to find the house on Marina Alto Lane, the twins' mother, her boyfriend, and their 5 brothers, age 8 to 14, were gone. So this woman had 7 children. And the 2 that escaped were 16-year-old fraternal boy-girl twins. An Amber Alert was issued Tuesday afternoon for the 5 children. Authorities said the boys were with their 18-year-old brother, their biological mother, Duncan, and her boyfriend, Jova Terrell. They said both Duncan, 40, and Terrell, 27, could be charged with injury to a child. It's unclear when they'll be brought back to Texas. So, first off, she's 40 with 7 children and he's 27. But I don't know if if he was abusing the kids. We'll find that out as we go on in the article. But she has a history of this. Around 5 p.m., Duncan and Terrell were taken into custody near the Louisiana State University campus in Baton Rouge. Only 1 child was with them, according to authorities. The couple told investigators that the other boys were dropped off at a relative's house where they were found and are okay, officials said. The twins were placed in Child Protective Service custody and were taken to an area hospital to be treated for bruises and malnourishment, according to authorities. Anyone with information about this situation is asked to call the Harris County Precinct 5 constables. So, it's not the first time Duncan has been arrested and charged due to alleged child abuse. I said the word, okay. According to Louisiana court documents from 10 years ago, a then 5-year-old child of Duncan's was taken from school to a local hospital to be treated for burns to the child's feet, genitals, and other parts of his body. Doctors determined it was likely the result of being burned by hot water. According to the documents, when police got to Duncan's home, they found a 20-month-old child wrapped in clothing with his hands bound. The other person in the home was the child's 4-year-old brother, according to the documents. During questioning, police said Duncan admitted to routinely disciplining one child by making him get into a push-up position for up to an hour, causing the child's hands to swell. The child was also forced to sleep on the floor of the closet, court documents said. The door of the closet was blocked by boards to keep the child from escaping and stealing food from the kitchen, court records said. First of all, if the child is stealing food from the kitchen, that doesn't make sense. How do you steal food from your own home? And yes, I know there are kids who will eat every, treat or snack in the house if you let them. But if this child was going into the kitchen at night, then maybe that child was hungry and maybe she wasn't feeding that child. I mean, how in the hell did this woman get custody of her children after the 10 years ago when she was, when they were taken because she burned one child, on his feet, genitals, and other areas of his body. And they found these other children, a 20-month-old baby with his hands bound. Okay? How did she ever get those children back? Man, I just don't understand what the hell is going on with CPS in this country, because I have read so many articles about children being returned to their abusive parents. And then what happens to those children? They're found, their lives are taken not long after they're returned. I have several videos about kids who were returned to their parent who abused them, and then, that parent takes the kid's life. It's just sad. Protect the kids. That is what we're all supposed to be doing. Back to the article. Police reported at the time that 2 of Duncan's other children also showed signs of abuse and were removed from the home. So they sent out an Amber Alert for those children. And that, I think that's how they found them in Louisiana. I don't understand some of these people. So, according to another article about this on Daily Mail, the kids, they escaped their home and they ran to several neighbors, and some of the neighbors refused to help them, but they ended up at a single mother's home, and she let them in very quickly, and she locked the door behind them, and she called the police for the kids. She also took pictures of their injuries, which are here in the video. And so an article on Daily Mail goes into detail about how the kids escaped and they ran to several neighbors who denied help to them. And then finally, like I said, a single mother, she let them in and quickly locked the door. The boy wasn't wearing a shirt and both of the siblings were barefoot. The neighbor who eventually let the pair inside told KHOU the kids told the police their mother and her boyfriend had left them in a room and forced them to eat and drink their own waste, refusing to let them use the toilet. So she'd been locking the kids, you guys, in the laundry room, and they were having to go in their own pants. Well, they didn't have any clothes on. They were made to poop and pee in there, and she also made them eat and drink their own waste. Refused to let them use the bathroom, the toilet. The woman who found them added, they would only feed them a sandwich only if they were quiet the whole day. If they made any type of noise, they wouldn't be fed. How a mother could do this to her kids. And she paused. I feel like my tears are out of frustration, anger, and sadness. That's how I feel. It is so infuriating. Louisiana State Police soon tracked down their mother, 40-year-old, and mother is not a term that should be used with this witch, 40-year-old Duncan, and her boyfriend, 27-year-old Joe Viterro, at a traffic stop in Baton Rouge. Both are charged with injury to a child and will be brought back to Houston. At least 5 of the children were rescued by police, one of whom was still with Duncan and Terrell, while the other 4 had been left with relatives, and that was in the other article. So it goes on. I'm going to read just one more paragraph. So the woman who eventually found the twins, a single mother at home with her daughter who also went unidentified, said she discovered them in appalling shape. They were so skinny and so frail. They just looked like they had been through a lot. They told me that their mom kept them locked in the laundry room, naked, zip-tied from the ankles, and handcuffed from the wrist. Duncan is currently listed as being in a Baton Rouge prison on charges of being a fugitive. Terrell's whereabouts are unknown. So the mother has been arrested. She's in jail in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The boyfriend, they don't know where he is, so he's escaped. To be honest, I don't know if the boyfriend played a role, but because in abusing them, but because even if he didn't put his hands on them or anything, because he knew what was going on, he's going to be charged too with child abuse because he didn't open his mouth, and he should be. He could have done something to save those kids because remember, the mother had been abusing her kids since 10 years prior. She had abuse charges against her. So this was something that she did before she met him. But that's a lesson to all of us. I would never keep my mouth shut. I would run screaming to the police. If you see someone abusing a child or an elderly person, report it. Don't worry about if that abusive person is someone that you love and you don't want them to go to jail. You have to worry about the helpless person who is receiving that abuse and mistreatment. And then also remember, if it comes out that you knew about it, you are going to be in lots of trouble. Jail time, possibility, okay? So anyway, I hope she gets the max thrown at her ass. And I hope she never, ever gets those children back. She does not deserve them. They are in danger with her. So I'm going to keep up with this. And I know I always say that, but usually these types of stories, it takes almost a year or even more sometimes for the outcome, for you to see what, for it to go to trial and for everything to settle down and the outcome is there. So I will keep up with it. Let me know what you think about this in the comments.